Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our first of many topic-specific Careers Talk live events at Moulton College. These are very unprecedented times for us all, but all of us here at Moulton College are working hard to provide you all with as much information and guidance as possible for your post-16 options. I'm Sarah Blenkinsop, and I'm passionate about post-16 accessibility for all, and I'm delighted to be your host for tonight's event. The purpose of these events is to provide you with some information about all the courses on offer at Moulton College, but more importantly, to give you the opportunity to find out about the careers that you could go into after you complete your course. We have Jamie Brightwell with us from Daventry Leisure Centre. He's kindly joined us to provide an employer's perspective on the industry and how we can ensure you succeed in your chosen career. We also want to give you an insight into life as a sports student, and we're delighted to be joined by two of our current students, Katie and Nima. So let's get started by looking at sport at Moulton College with our head of sport for this area, Lee Jones. Hi Lee, can you introduce yourself and give us a brief overview of your role at the college, please?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so like Sarah said, yeah, my name's Lee Jones and I'm the head of school for sport at the college. So basically what that means is I'm responsible for all of the academic provision for sport. So that covers everything from level 1 sport qualifications all the way through the different levels, so level 2, level 3, and then all the way up to our degree level programs, which run from level 4 to level 6, and everything that kind of encompasses really in terms of its academic provision. This will probably be a good time to to talk through some of the slides that I'm going to present. So I'm just going to talk for about kind of 5 to 10 minutes really on some of the different career opportunities that students have. I remember when I was 16, I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue which area of sport I wanted. All I knew was that I loved sport, and then I loved playing sport. I loved learning about different aspects of sport, whether that be anatomy or injury or learning about coaching. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for us to kind of discuss and talk through some of the different career opportunities that students have, and then to talk about some of the qualifications that we offer at the college that can help progress students into those different areas. So the first place to probably start is kind of why study sport. So there's numerous different reasons really, and I'm sure you can all read the PowerPoint slide in front of me. You know, there's different reasons, from improving our own national health system to learning about how the body works, getting a better understanding of sports nutrition, and how we can help support the general public, but also work with amateur and elite level athletes. And then there's other opportunities in terms of things linked to careers around coaching, whether that be coaching in PE secondary schools, primary school settings, coaching companies. So there's all a kind of array of different opportunities for students. We can probably break the career opportunities up into 4 different categories really. So you can see from the slide in front of me, we've got teaching and coaching pathway routes. So within that, we've got kind of careers linked to kind of coaching. So it might be a children's sports coach or a sports coordinator. We've got industries linked to teaching, whether that be primary school PE teaching, secondary school teaching. Some of you might even want to go on to become, you know, college lecturers in sport. So there's kind of, we kind of group our qualifications into kind of teaching and coaching routes. And then you can see we also run sports science and rehabilitation pathways. So here we're talking about careers such as physiotherapists, sports therapists, massage therapists, anything linked to kind of the science industry of sport, whether that be nutrition or psychology and things like this. We then also offer qualifications linked to health and fitness pathways. So we're traditionally talking about personal training, fitness instructing, and I'm sure Jamie will have a good insight into this, as that's where kind of his business is. So we've got lots of different routes around that pathway, and then there's also other opportunities as well, which are slightly less traditional, things like sports business, sports journalism. Students are going to, you can do things where you do things linked to product design around sports equipment, or travel and tourism. So there's lots of different kind of routes really around sport. And it's just good to any questions you have to kind of talk around any of these different routes. So I'm just going to, for a few minutes, talk around some of the different qualifications that we run for each of the different pathways. So it might be that you sat here listening going, oh yeah, I definitely want to be a coach. So what qualifications do I need to do now? Or, you might be thinking, oh, I definitely want to be a physio. How do I go about doing that? So I'm just going to briefly talk about that now. So the first one I'm going to speak about is the career qualification routes for teaching and coaching pathways. So it depends on what level of entry you're looking in. So at the moment, you're most likely studying GCSEs. So if you get grades 4 to 9, in at least 4 GCSEs, then you're most likely going to want to progress onto a level 3 qualification. So level 3 would be like an A-level equivalent qualification. And we've got 3 different routes here that link to teaching and coaching. So we've got routes linked to the extended diploma in sports, extended diploma in sports science, and then we also run a level 3 diploma in principles of sports coaching, which is slightly more practical in nature than the other 2 and is more linked to very specific skills that sports coaches will need when they go out into industry. While the other 2 are slightly more wider than that, and they don't just cover coaching, but will give you a good stepping stone into that industry. And then it's also worth noting as well that we also have higher education courses, and the ones that specifically link to coaching and teaching is our foundation degree and our full degree in sports performance and coaching. Moving on to sports science and rehabilitation pathways. So again, like I mentioned earlier, these are careers linked to the science industry of sport. So things like psychology, sports injury, physiotherapy, those type of routes. So again, if we look at specifically looking at level 3 to begin with, as that's where the majority of students will come in at, we're looking predominantly at our sport and exercise science qualification. So that's a 2-year qualification. And of our current students, we'd say that about 60 to 70% will look at progressing onto university from this qualification. So that is one option, and it's an extremely popular option for students. We also have something that's quite bespoke. So it might be that you're very, very interested in becoming a sports massage therapist. And if that's the case, then we run a level 3 diploma in injury prevention and sports massage. So it's very bespoke and very unique to students that very specifically want to become a sports massage therapist. So that's a perfect opportunity there for students. And again, you can see that it links to some higher level studies as well. So for example, level 4, we run a foundation degree and a full degree in sports therapy. Moving on to the last one, which is to do with our health and fitness pathways. So here we're talking about industries such as personal training, fitness instructing, and qualifications like that, really. So this one's a little bit different. So if you've never if you're looking to progress into the gym industry, then you're going to need to come onto a level 2 qualification, regardless of how good your GCSE results are. So the level 2 is a diploma in gym instructing. So that is a 1-year qualification, and at the end of that qualification, you'll be a fully qualified fitness instructor, meaning you can go straight out into industry, as a qualified fitness instructor and start to earn some income, which is brilliant. The majority of our students will continue for an additional year, and they'll progress through to the level 3 diploma in personal training. So then there's, in essence, within 2 years, they get 2 qualifications. They get the gym instructing, but then they also get a level 3 diploma in personal training as well. So it really kind of adds kind of weight and value to when they look at leaving the college and enter the fitness industry as well. Some students will want to take that even further, and they'll want to go on to higher education. And the one that links best with the health and fitness pathway is probably our full degree linked to strength and conditioning. So they're all, just to give you a very quick insight into some of the sport courses. I'm sure I could talk around it a lot more. So if there's any questions, please, put them in the chat and we can answer them. And if you want a bit more information, sorry, Sarah, if you want a bit more information, you can also go on our website as well, and you can find out some very specific information about each of the courses as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Lee. Sorry I interrupted you there. We've got a few questions coming through, Lee. Alexandra would like to know, she's interested in academies. Which areas are these within, please?
Yeah, no, it's a really, really good question. So if we look at our level 3 courses first, so you can study the level 3 extended diploma in sports. You could also study the level 3 diploma in sport. So the extended diploma is the one that's equivalent to 3 A levels. The level 3 diploma is the one that's equivalent to 2 A levels. Very, very similar qualifications. The only key difference there is if, for example, you didn't pass English, you would need to redo GCSE English and do the diploma, which is the 2A level equivalent. But it doesn't matter which one, both you can be part of any of the sports academies, whether that be football, rugby, basketball, cricket, or athletics. So there's two. You can also do our level 2 principles of sports coaching and our level 3 principles of sports coaching as well. And interestingly, for this coming September, we're also opening up 2 more qualifications that you can do the academies on. So you will also be able to do the sport and exercise science qualification, and we're also looking at the level 2 diploma in sport as well. So there's quite a few different options there for students if they want to be part of an academy.
Can you study a sports course alongside a course from another discipline, please?
Maybe it's the answer. It very much depends on what qualification you're doing. It's normally that we don't do that, just because most of the sport courses are quite full programs, so we class them as full-time courses. So because of that, you technically don't have time in your timetable, but there are some courses where it may be possible, but you would have to speak to probably us at an individual level to kind of get that level of information, really. So perhaps we could chat outside of this meeting and talk through some specifics.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea, Lee. Thank you. Emily Jane would like to know, what level qualifications in other subjects do you need for the level 3 extended diploma in sport and exercise science?
Yeah, so for the sports science, essentially, we're looking at 4 GCSEs, grade 4 to 9. It has to include English and maths. So there's no exception to that, unfortunately. They're the prerequisites to get onto the sports science qualification. We will also look at the science grade, but we won't necessarily determine whether or not you come onto the course with that. It's just something that we'll also glance over as well.
Excellent, thank you. Now, Chris has said that they're starting with us in September, BSc Strength and Conditioning. As part of the course, can they work closely with the Moulton academies?
Yeah, it's a really good question. The short answer is yes. Essentially, you can. We work closely. So for our degree programs, they can work with our further education academies, so our academies that are aged kind of 16 to 18, but obviously we also run a football academy as well, and we're looking at introducing a rugby academy to HE level as well. So there'll be opportunities across the entire academy pathway to work with athletes, particularly around strength and conditioning as well.
That sounds fantastic. And then we've just got one final question. Alexandra would like to know, what are the requirements for the extended diploma?
Yeah, so exactly the same as what I said for sports science. So it's for 4 GCSEs, grade 4 to 9. So anything higher than grade 4 has to include English and maths. If there's an example where you get your 4 GCSEs, but you don't get maths as an example, don't worry, because what we can do instead is, rather than do the extended diploma, we'll do the level 3 diploma, which is 2A level equivalent, and then you'll redo your GCSE here at the college.
Fantastic. Well, here's a really good question for you, Lee, from Jenny, asking about work experience. Is work experience included with the sports and exercise science course?
Yeah, again, really good question. And short answer is yes, it is. It's actually available for all of our courses. So it's a mandatory component of every single program we do, whether that be a level 1 sport or a level 3 or a level 4 qualification. Yeah, it's required. The only prerequisite we say is, depending on which course you're on, it needs to be in a related discipline. So for sports science, it needs to be something that's linked to the science industries.
That sounds fantastic. That's really good. Thank you very much, Lee. Perhaps we could move over to speak with some of our students. Katie, listen, thank you very much for being on the live event this evening. Do you want to just start by introducing yourself and just explain to us what the course is that you're studying at Moulton College, please?
My name is Katie Swan. I am a full-time student at Moulton. I'm at Moulton 3 days a week. and I am studying the Sports and Exercise Science course at an extended diploma.
Super, fantastic. So what made you decide to come and study a sports course at Moulton College?
I had never wanted to stay at sixth form. I had always wanted to move on to college, and I found Moulton. I looked that they had a massive funding with the sports department, and I'd heard things from people in my family about Moulton. And I've always wanted to go into sports psychology. So when I spoke to someone on one of the open days, they were super helpful. They helped me understand the courses, and which course would help me take sports psychology and progress in the future, which was where I was told about the sports science course, which I was immediately drawn to, and I'm loving it so far.
That's absolutely fantastic to hear. But tell me, obviously at the minute things are a little bit different, and we're not at college, sadly, at the moment. So we're doing everything remotely, and obviously lessons are having to take place over these types of calls. Could you just describe, just for the benefit of everybody that's joined in and is listening to us this evening, can you describe what a typical day is like for you at college?
So when I'm actually in college and I'm on site, I get the bus into college and I use Moulton Transport. I then walk from where the bus drops me off and I go walk across to the Pittsford site, which is where sports is based, and I go straight into my first lesson. I typically have lessons with a 15 or an hour, 45 minutes long. I have a 15-minute break in between lessons to allow you to move between the sites. And I cover a variety of year 1 and 2 topics.
That's great. That sounds great. So what do you enjoy most about your course?
Oh, that is a hard question to answer. I love the variety of my course itself. Specifically with the course, I love the variety of subjects we cover, with anatomy, biomechanics, psychology, which was really important for me when moving on to college, research methods, and the fact that it gives you so many base skills, and transferable skills across so many different works of the sports industry.
Yeah, okay, that sounds great. So what are you hoping to do after you complete your course at Moulton College?
I am currently looking to go on to university. The tutors have been incredibly supportive with my decision and helping me. I've looked at Bath University and taking sports science, and then taking my master's in sports psychology.
Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. Can I ask you one final question?
Of course you can.
Thank you. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who's a little bit undecided and they don't know quite what to do after their GCSEs, what piece of advice would you give them?
I know that I was unsure after I got my GCSE results, and when I left school in March so suddenly. But I would say go and look at Moulton, trust your instincts, and it is, so many people can say so many different things, but you won't know what it's like until you experience it for yourself. So go out there and just try it.
That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Katie, and thank you again for being on our live careers event this evening. It's been great to hear from you. It really has. Whilst you're there, Lee, we've had another question come through from Alexandra, who asks, what is the split between the practical and the classroom work for the academy?
Yeah, okay, so it depends. It depends what qualification you're on with the academy, because I mentioned earlier you can be on about 6 or 7 different qualifications. So it does depend which one. But if I run through a rough outline of what the academies look like, so the academies run over 3 specific days or 3 specific mornings. So, for example, if you're on the rugby academy, you would train on a first thing on a kind of morning, kind of 9 o'clock till 10:30. You'd have a small half an hour break, then you go into a strength and conditioning session. The exact same thing happens on a Tuesday. So you pretty much have academies from 9 o'clock through to about 12 o'clock. So that's the same Monday, Tuesday, and the same on a Friday. And then you've obviously got fixtures and matches on a Wednesday. So that's the same for all of our academies. And then outside of that, that's when you have all your academic sessions. So, for example, you'd have your academy in the morning, and then in the afternoon, you'd have your lessons. So that's kind of a rough structure of how it looks.
Thank you, Lee. There's actually just another question just while we're talking about academies. John has asked, how can you join one of the academies?
Yeah, really good question. So it's just through our application process. You can just go onto the website. When you put in an application for one of the academic courses, you will just get a drop-down option of whether or not you want to be involved in one of the academies. So you just have to apply for the right qualification and then just select which academy, and then we'll contact you after that point.
Fantastic. And just another question, Lee, from Emma. Can we apply for more than one course if we're unsure which sport course to do?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem with that whatsoever. All that we'll do at that point is when we see multiple applications, we'll then just contact you and have a conversation kind of on a one-to-one level to work out which qualification we think might be better suited. Yeah,
absolutely. And then just Alexandra's asked again, just going back to the academies, is the entry onto the academies based on an ability test?
Slightly, yes. So it's more difficult in this current lockdown situation. So we normally run trials and things like this. So at the moment, it will just be done off a conversation with one of our heads of the academy, where they'll ask you about your playing experience, if you play for a club, and they'll get a little bit of an indication of that. So yes, slightly, but we're not looking for, you don't need to be the best player in the world for that sport.
Fantastic. And then just another, still on academies, Lee, do the academies cover girls' football?
Yeah, they do.
That's a question from Chris, so thank you very much for that. Excellent. Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, Lee. Jamie, if you're okay with your camera and your mic, would you please introduce yourself and just give us a brief overview of your role, please?
So I'm Jamie Broughton. I'm the contract manager for the Daventry contract. We have 3 sites. We have Daventry Leisure Centre, we have Daventry Sports Park, and we have Moulton Leisure Centre, which is now due to open in the grounds of Moulton College. Everyone active as a company, leisure management company. We manage leisure centres on behalf of councils, and we've got over 200 sites around the country, ranging from down in Plymouth up to Sunderland, and we've got a big big contract in Westminster in London, which is probably our biggest one. So across those, we manage on behalf of local governments and do a good job of it across the country.
Sounds fantastic. Could you give us a bit of an insight into your own career journey, Jamie, please?
Yep. So again, I was into sport, as Lee was. Quite confident that I wanted to do something with sport. Not quite sure what though. I think at the age of 15, 16, I started doing some football coaching, which is strange because it's not really my sport. But I started there at a local leisure centre and then moved to doing some children's activities at weekends and half-term camps at the age of 16, 17. Then became a lifeguard, worked around the site, became a team leader, duty manager, then went to university, came back out, started again as duty manager, and then I've worked my way up since then to the position of contract manager.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. So just thinking about the potential students that are going to be watching or joining in with our live event this evening, what are the main things that you look for when you're recruiting people into your organisation?
It's qualifications really and work experience. So the two of them give us a good steer as to the interest that person has in the leisure industry, how serious they are about the leisure industry, and that goes from any level of job, from sort of part-time lifeguard all the way up to fitness managers, sales managers, etc. We want to see that people have got that passion for the industry to make sure that they're going to be in for the long haul, really. So alongside the qualifications, it's about having a personality. 99.9% of our roles that we employ for are all customer facing. So you're talking to customers all the time. That's not to say that unconfident people don't get roles in leisure. I've seen many people that have started off as quite shy, a bit unsure, coming into the world of work, that have then sort of blossomed, and it's really been the making of them, and that they've grown as a person within the job, and have progressed through the industry, or gone else onto successful career elsewhere.
Thank you. That sounds fantastic. So what advice would you give to a young person if they were considering going into sports as a career?
Have an open mind, I would say. Leisure industry, it's not a small thing. For example, at a leisure centre, you may think it's just things to do with sport. There is sport there. There's coaching, there's children's activities, there is lifeguarding, there's fitness instructors, personal trainers, group exercise instructors. So from a fitness point of view and a leisure point of view, those are the ones you see. But then on top of that, we have sales teams and marketing teams, finance team, maintenance. We have catering, so food and beverage, all these different areas. So what we hear quite a lot is people that come in to be a coach or a lifeguard, and then within 2 years they're maybe working in the sales team. They've done a bit of lifeguarding, further coaching, and they don't realise how big the industry is until they're actually in it and realise what the big spectrum of jobs that there are within that, and to move on from there as well. So it's coming into leisure and then learning your skills, and then having those transferable skills to be able to go maybe to another industry that those skills work in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So is there anything that students could do to really help their CV to stand out when they're applying for a job in the sports industry?
Yeah, certainly. So qualifications is a good one. So with a lot of our roles that we employ for, there's certain qualifications needed. For example, you can't become a lifeguard unless you've got a lifeguard qualification. That takes a course of about 5 days to complete. If you're looking to coach, whilst it is beneficial to have a coaching qualification, it's not necessary. If you're coming in to volunteer, we see a lot of people that have volunteered at local village clubs and clubs at home that then just want the qualification. So they've done the hard work, they've done the volunteer hours, and then we give them the qualification, and then they come and work for us and can run their own scheme or run their own sessions. So certainly those, we do offer training as part of it as well. Swimming, whether it be a swimming teacher or a lifeguard, we can provide that. But it just makes that a lot easier. And if we've got people that have applied for jobs with qualifications, with a background and a work experience within the sports and leisure industry, it shows that they've got that passion, and they're much easier to employ than people who haven't got that behind them.
That's great. That's really, really useful, Jamie. Thank you. Can I just ask you one more question? What are the main trends that you see happening within the sports sector over the next 5 years?
I think my answer would have been different 12 months ago.
Quite.
But I think during the last 12 months, everything leisure-based, really, and sport-based, well, 90% has gone online. So everything's been done virtual at home in people's gardens, whether that be PTs doing courses online and doing training over Zoom or Teams or whatever. That's happening a lot. So I can see that the leisure industry as a whole, so Leisure Centre will have to embrace that. Otherwise, they'll potentially lose customers to that. Everyone Active have released Everyone Active online. So as a part to your membership, you're able to access Les Mills classes online. So as part of your membership, you can do that at home. So if it's a cold, rainy night and you don't fancy going in, you can do a Les Mills class at home as part of your membership. I think also, there's the next part will be how we integrate with Public Health England and the health industry to ensure that not only are people getting a vaccine, but they're keeping their health and fitness to a level where if they do get ill in the future, then they've got the fitness and the health to battle whatever it is that they may have.
Jamie, actually, if you don't mind, we've had a question come through from Chloe just in this last second. Looking to do an international lifeguard course once we're back to normality. During my course at Moulton, would I be able to get some work experience? From Chloe. Yeah,
I would think so. I mean, it's a strange one with a lifeguard. You can't really get work experience from a lifeguard. You either have to be a lifeguard or not. So, but we could certainly, we run the National Pool Lifeguard qualification through the Royal Lifesaver Society. So we run those on a fairly regular basis, maybe once a quarter or more regularly if need be. Like I said, it's a 5-day course. We tend to run them around half terms and summer holidays so that people can attend. But we can do them over weekends if necessary. It takes a bit longer, but we can do that. So yeah, if that's something people are interested in, we will be running courses once we are open.
That sounds great. Thank you, Jamie. Hopefully that's all good news for you, Chloe. Okay, so I don't think we've got Nima available to talk to us just at the moment, but hopefully everybody's been able to get a lot of useful information from our live careers event this evening. I hope you found it very useful. Can I just say again, a huge thank you to Lee, our head of school, to Jamie, who's been very kind to join us from the Daventry Leisure Centre, for our students. Katie, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a really useful evening. Thank you to everybody. Remember that you can find out all the information regarding our sports courses and all of the other courses available at Moulton College on our website. On the website, we also have lots of really useful tour videos. We have interviews with lecturers, with students. There's a whole host of information there for you. When you find the course that you're interested in or courses, you can simply hit the Apply Now button. And by sending that application through, one of the team will be able to make a call to you and talk to you about what exactly it is that you want to do when you come to Moulton College. So, yeah, thank you all very much again. Hopefully everybody's got a lot out of this evening that's been watching, and we hope to welcome you all to Moulton College in the near future. Thank you very much, everybody.